Robert Earl Dean. I am so excited today.
Yes.
There are a lot of people that you meet, and they have lasting impressions on you. You don't know if that's because they're a top fashion model. You don't know if it's because they're international spokesperson or a speaker. You just don't know why they leave this lasting impression. You don't know if it's because they come from good stock,
Mm-hmm.
and from mama's a preacher and a survivor. You don't know because they're a good mother and friend and activist in the community. You don't know why they had that impression, but you just know that you have been impacted and impressed by this person. And this morning, she done came online with us this morning. Early in the morning, she got her glasses that matches her scarf, and she got the little mood lighting in. Let's put our hands together and welcome Miss Jazmin Steele. Miss Jazmin, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are
We
you?
are wonderful. Good to have you.
Nice to be here, bright and early.
Uh,
Bright and early.
I'm gonna ask the question already from the giddy up. Okay, now are those a different set of glasses? Because they really do match your outfit.
These are actually prescription glasses,
Hmm.
okay? And they're a morning accessory. You wake up nice and early to be with you guys, pop these glasses on, and I'm ready for the day. So
See?
yeah.
Being that you are a social media and national phenomenon, every time I come in, I know that you've been rocking this dope eyewear every time I see you. That seems to shift based on the day. So is that a brand that you're endorsing? Did you get the endorsement deal yet? Talk to me.
No, you're gonna help me with that,
Oh,
right, Dr.
yes,
LT?
yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Hey, go
We're gonna
for it.
work
Yeah.
on the
Go for it.
So tell me, a lot of good things are happening in your life. I kind of want you just to introduce yourself to people and tell people what you are about, and then we can talk about what's coming up this week.
Absolutely. So I'm Jasmine Steele. Hey, family. Born and raised in San Diego, California. So my background is in domestic abuse activism. So I'm a 6-year survivor. My mother is also a survivor of domestic abuse, but her sister, my aunt, was not a survivor, which is why I'm so passionate about being on the forefront of talking about the signs of domestic abuse, especially the signs that we don't typically see: financial abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. We're all familiar with physical
Mm-hmm,
abuse,
mm-hmm.
and these are issues that have lived throughout generations of our culture. And so to bring some normalcy and having those conversations is where I found myself in that space the past few years. In fact, I'm an author as well. So I put my story in a book, loosely put my story in a book, a novel called Love Incorruptible a few years back. And that story led me into different spaces in prisons, churches, college campuses, really talking about the impacts of domestic abuse in our community. And I got to share how my self-care journey and my healing journey has really helped to restore my life over the past 6 years. And so I'm also a mother. I have 3 daughters that I'm raising, and an entrepreneur as well. And so my passion truly, family, is to help women to heal their hearts, their mind, and their money. Because when a woman can heal her heart, heal her mind, and heal her money, especially as a single woman or a single mom, which also, that storyline rings through our community as well. When we can learn to take care of ourselves first, then the rest of it just kind of falls into place.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask this question because you dropped a little nugget there. Most of the time when we talk about domestic violence and domestic
Mm-hmm.
abuse, we only talk about the physical, but you gave more than just the physical. So talk about the financial and the different levels that you were just sharing.
Absolutely. And so financial abuse, for example, is when a person finds themselves in a situation where the partner can be controlling. So controlling over the finances, not giving the other person access to finances,
Wow.
even going as far as identity theft, using the other partner's credit to gain influence, or interfering with their jobs because of the control issues or the emotional issues that may be taking place inside of the relationship. You have scenarios where a partner can be calling someone's job all day,
Hmm.
interfering with their money, their
Wow.
job.
Hmm.
And so for me in particular, I dealt with situations where I was closed out of bank accounts at the drop of a dime, having to live on credit cards. So those are some examples that I experienced. And then the toxicity when it comes to emotional abuse. I mean, to be quite frank, many of us weren't taught proper communication skills growing up. You know, we learn to cope with certain things just by default.
Mm-hmm.
Even children, witnessing parents be victims of abuse. I witnessed my mom be a victim of abuse, and that's traumatizing in and of itself to the child emotionally.
Yeah.
So those kinds of things, and then the lasting effects that that has on our, on us as we develop as adults. We don't realize that a lot of our adult choices stem from the experiences that we had in our childhood.
How, because you said that you are, the second generation of experiencing this. How do you break this with the church would call it a generational curse so that it doesn't
Mhm.
impact your children? What are the steps or road to recovery that you're going on to try to assist your children in not following that?
Well, the first step is awareness.
Hmm.
I think many times we don't know what we don't know.
Hmm.
And what we saw growing up, we can even think that that's the way it's supposed to be. And so I think anyone in a toxic situation has to get to a place of awareness that what they're in isn't healthy, isn't good for them.
Hmm.
Now, when that light bulb goes off, it's different for everybody.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, some folks don't get to make it out of a lot, alive out of domestic abuse situations. I personally didn't experience physical abuse, so that's not an abuse that I personally experienced.
Hmm.
However, that's the abuse that I witnessed growing up. And so it starts number one with awareness.
Hmm.
Number two, asking for help.
Hmm.
I know in these types of situations, it can be embarrassing. You
Hmm.
don't want people to know what
Right.
you're going through, especially if you have children. You're trying to save face, going to church, going to your
Hmm.
job.
Hmm.
And so we kind of get stuck in putting up airs, and we got to get over that.
Hmm.
And so asking for the help that you need because help is available.
Hmm.
I can't tell you how God's provided in me rebuilding my life the past 6, 7 years will blow your mind. The way rent's been paid and furniture's been delivered and
Hmm.
things like that, where if I didn't open up my mouth to ask for the help, I wouldn't have been able to rebuild my life. And
Hmm.
so I definitely say number one, it starts with awareness, and number two, humbling yourself to ask for the help that you need.
Okay, here's one of those cliche things that I'm gonna say, and I want you to kind of address it because we hear this a lot. Wait a minute, you too cute to have been
Hmm.
abused.
Hmm.
Let's talk about that because some folks think that abuse look a certain way.
That's foolishness.
So true. So true. You guys, you too cute to be abused. Well, we didn't ask to be born into the families we were born into.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And what I've grown to understand is that God places you in the family that you're supposed to be in because there's a purpose for you there.
Hmm.
And so, with that being said, uh, a lot of my choices were based off of the things I saw as a young girl. My father left the home pretty early, which is also a story that is pretty common through a common thread throughout our community. And so not having that stability, that love, that experience with the man early on, it led me into doing things prematurely as a
Hmm.
young girl, seeking for love outside of myself, outside of the home.
Hmm.
And so when you're insecure and broken, anything will do.
Hmm.
Regardless of how cute you are,
Hmm.
anything will do. And so my first abusive relationship, we both had our baggage. We were kids. We didn't have the necessary tools to be in a healthy relationship. And so hurt people.
Hmm.
And that's what we experienced for some time. And I'm grateful for the journey because I never thought that I'd be in a place where my the father of my children and I would be friends again.
Wow.
And so to be able for both of us to go through that healing work, it's been a blessing to see God come full circle for us and our children. And so now we're able to be in a healthy place once we kind of got over our stuff.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times with parents, they bring their kids on into their drama. And so being able to mature and step out of that and put the children first has been a complete blessing in our lives.
Amen, Robert.
I think it's important that you're addressing this because we I work in high school. He works with younger kids, but in the high school, people be surprised at how many young people are going through the same abusive relationships where young men and young women are beating each other, torturing each other. We get it all the time in the office.
Yeah, no, this is the age to talk about it as well. I mean, I would say that I entered my first toxic relationship at the age of 15. And so if I would have had some mentors around me, to be able to guide me through those things and to say, hey, that's not normal, or this is the way that you should respond to this, or hey, you are worthy. You don't deserve that type of treatment. Or these are the types of qualities you look for in a friend or a boyfriend. Right. And so if we're not having these conversations at home, where are we learning it?
Yeah, and I think that that's very important. And the funny thing about it is that we're seeing domestic abuse and domestic violence, and it has no economic, geographical background. There are young people that have grown up in double mother-father homes, good, stable homes, and still go through it, and those that have gone through different scenarios. And I think it's so important that we take the stigma off of talking about it and just be very real about it, because if we're not real about it, we literally open the door for it to continue. But when we open the door and expose everything, it shuts the door to the nonsense.
Absolutely. I agree with you. It's for me, it's all about normalizing these conversations. I think we've gone way too many years sweeping these types of discussions under the rug. Even things as deep as molestation has ran through our community, and we sweep it under the rug when Uncle so and so touched niece so and so, and you're just supposed to shut your mouth and keep going. But those things plant seeds in us, and seeds of unworthiness. Seeds of insecurity, seeds of feeling not good enough. And so if these seeds are planted in us and then we're continuing to develop through life, that's exactly how we end up in these types of scenarios, these types of toxic scenarios. The root of it is not understanding and knowing our worth.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was Maya Angelou or Oprah Winfrey. Somebody had that molestation, something happened.
It was both.
Yeah.
And Maya's was that she wouldn't talk for years.
Because she found out that they had went and found the guy and kicked him to death.
Yep.
Yeah. And
she felt that it was her fault.
So she didn't want to open her mouth again.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's what's really important too, for to open the mouths of our children again. Yes. Because so many times they've been told to close their mouth, and then they live with that pain, and that pain births other things in their life.
Yeah, and like she said, it stems from your childhood, and you keep going on and on and on, and that baggage is coming with you, and then two toxic people, it's just explosive.
So, and a lot of guilt and shame as well starts to develop. Even in the victim, they feel guilt, they feel shame, and in some ways even wanting to protect the abuser, depending on, their relationship with them. If it's a parent, sometimes the abuser is a parent. Right. And many times our parents simply just didn't have the tools. It's like my mama and my daddy spanked me, so I'm going to spank you because that's what I know. Right. The beauty about being in this generation is we have access to information 24 hours a day. Yes. So we're able to implement some more education when it comes to raising our children, and then also when it comes to developing healthy relationships.
I got this new vision in my head. I'm gonna call you the bag unpacker. Because he's like, I'm gonna unpack this stuff that you don't need, and then we're gonna repack. The tools that you need. So
cover it up in some love.
Yeah, the layers.
So let me ask you a question. This week is a very busy week for you. Tell us what's going on. Let's talk about the event that you are going to be on for the Kumbah Fest, and are you going to be doing some podcasts? I kid you not. You are one of the hardest working women that I see. And every time, and Robin, I have to say this. Not everybody could wear the fuzzy sweater. But I saw her in Vegas. I mean, just fashion. What is it? The cure. What's that fashion? The certain style of fashion.
Couture.
There you go. Okay. Not everybody can do that. But she was in Vegas. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I had to readjust my screen.
She's representing San Diego and herself.
Yes. I was like, what? Go on.
That's called branding.
I wanted to reach out and say, let me touch this and see what it feel like. So just tell me what's going on. What's happening?
Yeah, so we were invited to be a part of the Kumbah Fest this year, which to me was a complete honor. I'm born and raised here. We used to go to the Kumbah Fest, in high school every single year. And I remember it being good times. I remember it being always a weekend of Black Pride, an opportunity for us to celebrate ourselves and to learn about our culture, because these schools ain't teaching us Black history.
Not in San
So I
Diego.
remember, it was fun for us to go. So when I got invited, I was like, wow, this is like historical for me. So we're going to be doing a panel event. It's going to be an open discussion, myself and a couple of my friends. Our panel event is Healing Stories for the Culture. And so we're going to be providing an open dialogue just like this with the audience to be able to talk about our own personal healing stories. And then we're going to add a little bit of fun in there and read some excerpts from my book. And I won't let all the cats out of the bag, but I think it's important in a venue like this to be able to include the community in the discussion, versus it being a bunch of experts on stage. And we will have some experts on stage. Jewel McDowell, who is actually a marriage family therapist, will be there to help moderate the conversation and bring that clinician side. And then one of my good friends, my sister Trida Rebecca, who's a media mogul, who so many of us know here in San Diego, will also be sharing her story of overcoming abuse. And then I have two gentlemen, Dom Walltower, who actually was a domestic abuse. He was an abusee as a child, but then also became an abuser as an adult. And Dom publicly shares his story, and now he teaches about domestic abuse or violence prevention. He's a violence prevention advocate. And he works at the military base, and so he speaks in different spaces to men about abuse. And I love that he's having those challenging conversations with men. And then I have an entrepreneur coming from Washington, D.C., Mr. Michael Humes, who was raised by a single mom. He's actually a single father of two daughters. And so he's going to be sharing his story of growing up in Washington, D.C., and as an entrepreneur, becoming very successful and helping other folks become successful as well. So having these powerful stories, kind of these folks that have overcome. We'll be at the Kumbah Fest on Saturday, February 26th at 3 p.m. And then on Sunday, we're going to keep the ball rolling. So Michael Humes, as I mentioned, he's a very successful entrepreneur. He's been featured in Ebony Magazine, Essence, Success from Home. Even AOL did a write-up on him and how he's not only built wealth for himself, but he's also teaching wealth in the Black community and how he specifically has done that and the vehicle he's used. And so we'll be doing a live Q&A on Sunday, February 27th. And all of these details are also in my social media bio, but both of these events are completely free. The Q&A on Sunday is going to be at an Italian restaurant in Lemon Grove, a new Italian restaurant that just opened up. So food and drinks will be available, but that event, I'm encouraging entrepreneurs to come out. So folks that are in insurance, finance, credit, or those are even looking to become entrepreneurs. I think it's important in our community to not only have examples of success of athletes and entertainers. I think it's good to see us as doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, teachers, so that we can see a variety of what success may look like. Because you're more likely to be successful as an entrepreneur than you are to become Beyonce or Jay-Z.
I agree.
And so I think it'd be a great physical example of someone that looks like us, that's amassed some great success, and that's teaching us how to do that as well.
Well, there you have it, Miss Jazmin Steele. I tell you, she's not only everyone's woman, but she is the one that will just literally inspire you. And last but not least, before I get off, because Chada, Rebecca, and you are going to be making some big announcements very soon about your own show coming together. We'll just say that for later. But could you just give one of the tools that you've been using to free yourself financially? Would you like to share that real quick? One of your tools that you're using to better yourself.
Well, one of the business projects that I've been working on for quite a few years now, I've been a partner with Legalshield Services, and Legalshield is a service that provides equal access to justice for everybody. So we provide a legal service to entrepreneurs and to families, teaching them how to protect themselves, get their estate planning done. Our community, 90% of us don't have our estate planning done. We don't have our wills in place. Number one reason is that we can't afford it. We also have some everyday common situations like going through divorce, which is what I actually use these services for. So not only am I an advocate of the services because I've been a member for 17 years, but I'm also an advocate of educating our community on how these services can benefit them right now. and that you don't have to be wealthy or an Oprah Winfrey or a Michael Jordan to be able to have access to your rights. And so being able to educate our community on these services have been a way that I've been able to build a great business for myself, for my children as a single parent, but then also offer entrepreneurial options as well through that very same opportunity. And it's been a blessing to be able to help other moms put themselves in position, even if they have a full-time job, to be able to start building an asset for themselves on the side. Because I think what most of us have realized with COVID is that one income is just too close to zero, putting all our eggs in one basket, you know, and, you know, they're calling it the great resignation that's happening right now. Folks are opening up their minds, transitioning out of corporate America and really looking to do something different. I think folks are looking to spend their time more wisely, because we all realize that age doesn't have a death, you know, death doesn't have an age attached to it. We're looking to do more purposeful work. And so I find my work as a partner with Legalshield, as part of my social advocacy. We have a 24-hour access button on our app in case a young brother or sister is ever caught in a legal emergency. So 24/7 being able to have access to your rights. Because one of my friends said to me, it was true, and I laughed when he said it, but it was true. He said, you know, our ancestors came to this country and fought for us to have rights, even died for us to have rights. But what good is us having the right if we can't access the right because of finances? And so that's what we're able to do, be able to educate, empower, and give folks access to their rights. And that's one of the ways, in addition to being an author and walking around sharing this story here, Dr. LT.
There you go.
My story, Love Incorruptible. And so being able to, you know, talk about healing and empowerment has been a purposeful journey for me the past 6-7 years. And I'm looking forward to the rest of 2022. And yes, we do have some announcements coming soon with Dr. LT, Chida, Rebecca, and I. We're looking forward to that as well. Stay tuned, fam. Let's stay tuned.
Kenny Long, my cousin, is part of Legalshield.
Yes, Kenny Long.
That's my first cousin. His mom is my mom's sister.
That's my guy. I love Kenny. Yep. Know him. Yep. We worked together years ago.
Yes.
Well, there you have it right there. This young lady is literally changing the game with her energy, with her fashion, with her intelligence, with all of that. And she's still a mom of 3. You don't look like you got 3 kids.
No, she don't.
Man, I got a kid about to graduate college, y'all.
Wow, congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you. She texted me asking me for money this morning before I even woke up.
It's like, Mama, I gotta ask a need and a need a need.
Right.
Could you please send to me?
Right. That's all right.
Well, we are so happy to have Jazmin Steele with us. Y'all stay tuned. Check her out this weekend at the Kumba Fest, 3 p.m. It is free. Come down, fellowship, get some good information, a great panel that they have. And then on Sunday, go get you some Italiano food and go and see how you can build your wealth. Well, this is Dr. LT from God Radio and
Robert Odine.
I'm going to play this song because I think it represents her. It's called Fighter. Come on, Patricia. I'm getting right. Wortham. Yeah,
okay.
got to get it right. Patricia Wortham.
Right.
Yeah, parents, y'all stop naming your child these things. I'll be trying to get the name right. But here we go.